guys, and welcome to my Lee Sin jungle guide. And Lee Sin can also be a top laner, but in this video I'll be showing you how to play him as a jungler. So first off, Lee Sin is a pretty high difficulty champion at 80 out of 100 points, and he is attributed as an assassin and melee. Lee Sin is very good at sticking to and killing the enemy carry, and he's a very high burst or sustained damage champion, depending on how you build him and how you play him. Lee Sin's passive is Flurry. Lee Sin regenerates 15 energy in between his abilities, and also gain 40% attack speed. Make sure that you weave auto attacks in between your abilities to minimize energy loss and maximize your sustained damage potential. Q ability is called Sonic Wave and Resonating Strike. Sonic Wave and Resonating Strike sends out a medium long-range skill shot that reveals the enemy and deals damage to them. After you hit them, you can dash to them, dealing a percentage of their missing health and also flat damage. Lee Sin's W is Safeguard and Iron Will. Safeguard and Iron Will allow you to have a lot of sustain and durability in the jungle or the lane. Use this to keep yourself healthy in a team fight, shield your carries, and to dodge projectiles such as skill shots. Lee Sin's E, Tempest and Cripple, will do AoE damage and help you clear the jungle faster. It also helps you solo AD carries. Lee Sin's R ability is Dragon's Rage. Lee Sin kicks back an enemy, knocking them back, and knocking up enemies who they collide with. Use this to put the enemy in a vulnerable position, or to disrupt enemies while they are chasing you. Alright guys, in this following clip I'll be showing you guys my general jungling path, and also I'll be showing you guys item builds. So when you're playing Lee Sin and you're jungling, you have two choices, to invade or to have your regular route. And most of the time I go for an early invade and go for first blood or maybe an assist, anything. But I don't usually go there and take their camps. I just maybe take a buff or two, but I never camp the jungle like Shaco. And so as you see here, we move through their jungle, and it's very surprising because the Udyr, who I'm facing right here, he's not going up against or he doesn't have anyone to guard him, so all five of us catch him and we get a free first blood. And I start to head back to my red, and we know we set him up behind by a little bit. So the reason why Lee Sin starts at red, like Shaco or Shyvana or Mundo, is because he doesn't really need the cooldown reduction or the mana from blue, because Lee Sin doesn't run on mana. And so we just start at red to go for the quickest gank, because like Shaco, he falls off late game, and you want to take advantage of your early game by getting fast ganks. And you'll see here we actually have a fail leash, and I lose a lot more health than I'm supposed to. So when playing Lee Sin, I don't really counter jungle, or I don't go and camp the jungle, as I said before, like Shaco. I just, and as you see here, I should have smited, use that 300 health. So I don't camp the jungle like Shaco, set up boxes and stuff like that. I just go take a couple of camps, maybe kill the enemy jungler, that kind of thing, but I never go and actually camp the jungle. So I don't counter jungle that often. Lee Sin didn't have any fast clearing capabilities of like Shaco's Jack in the Box, so that's why I don't counter jungle. I take a few camps here and there, and I try to set them back. And yes, that's basically my jungling path. And I go for a level 2 gank, and as you see here, I'm going for a gank on Udyr, but he already has respawned and taken his blue and his wolves, so that wasted a lot of time. And afterwards, I go for a gank on Lux. So that's my basic jungle route for Lee Sin. So as I said before, I just when I counter jungle, I just try to take his buffs mainly, because that's what gives the most XP. And it's better to clear out the whole entire camp and then time it so you can take it later, instead of just taking the camp and then leaving one creep, because then you won't know when the enemy will kill it, and then you don't know when it respawns, and you'll just give up the buff at a later date. So now for my item builds, Lee Sin is very diverse in the items that he can build, because Lee Sin, he doesn't run on mana, he has a lot of burst, or sustain damage because he has two abilities for each of his Q, W, and E. So, which gives him 7 total abilities, and it just allows a lot of diversity when you're playing Lee Sin. For starting items, I like to start boots and 3 health potions, so I can run around, gank often, and kill the enemies whenever I want and wherever I want. And it strikes a balance between offense and defense, as it gives me 3 health potions for sustain and boots for offensive capabilities. I sometimes I like to start cloth armor, and that's when I know I'm gonna go against an enemy that's gonna try to duel me often. So I want as much sustain as possible, and things like that. And because of runes and masteries, I have 9 points in defense. I don't really need cloth armor and 5 health potions as much as I need boots and 3 health potions, because since I have 0 points in utility, I don't get extra movement speed, which makes me a little bit slower. And that's why I like to start boots most of the time. 2 other viable starts I'd say are Doran's Blade and Vampiric Scepter, but both of them are very risky because even though they give you or Doran's Blade will give you a very strong early gank, then if you get invaded, then you're basically gonna have to recall and then refill all your health and stuff because 3% lifesteal isn't that much. Same with Vampiric Scepter, 12% isn't enough to keep you alive for a long time, and that's why I don't I don't take that, because if I want to invade, I should take some more offensive choices such as Boots 3 or possibly Doran's Blade, but most of the time no. And for my boots, I try to get boots early game. I go for either Mercury's Treads or Boots of Mobility, and I said before, Boots of Mobility, I take that I want to if I want to roam and get many kills in Snowball, and I take the Mercury Treads, so they help me scale into late game as it gives me 35 tenacity, which is really good for early game, middle game, late game, anything, because as you see here, I'll be facing Olaf Slow, Udyr Stun, Lux Slow and Snare, Varus Snare and Slow, and his and Nunu's really his slow too. So that's why I like to go Mercury's Treads most of the time, but if the enemy team has no CC at all, then I like to get Boots some mobility, or sometimes Berserker's Greaves, because that allows me to farm more. As for my early game core items, I like to go for, first of all, I like to go for Wriggles, because it gives me the ward, so I can ward like Dragon, or I can jump walls with the ward with my Safeguard Iron Will, or Lifesteal, and it just gives a lot of utility overall. It helps me clear faster. I always get Wriggles. Um, Sometimes I go for a Heart of Gold, like I actually do in this game. I get the Heart of Gold, so if the enemy carry gets fed late game, I can turn it to Randuin's, or if he doesn't, then I'll just use it for the HP or the GP5, that kind of thing. So Heart of Gold is one of my favorite choices, and also I get a Hex Drinker sometimes because if the enemy AP carry is fed, like I believe the Lux is, she's 3 and 2, so she's not extremely fed, but she can kill me. So that's why I get a Hex Drinker sometimes, so I can defend against like a 1v1 situation against Lux or their AP carry. And lastly, for the late game, I take anything because, as I said before, Lee Sin's really diverse, and he can build anything and just be really strong. So my main goal is to stick to the enemy carry and then kill them as fast as possible, because that's my goal, to kill the carry and just to wreak havoc in the back lines of the team. So I usually build bursty, such as Trinity Force, and as Freak says, it gives me tons of damage. So it gives me a lot of utility uh, because of the sheen, and since I spam my abilities, then in between the auto attacks, or in between the abilities, I'll get really strong auto attacks. The Zeal is really strong too because it gives me movement speed, critical strike, attack damage, or attack speed and stuff. And also the Phage will give me more survivability and a slow durability, that kind of thing. Atmogs and Atmallet, both really fun too, even though Atmogs or the Atmos Impaler has been nerfed. I still like it because it gives me a balance between offense and defense. And Randuin's works against the AD carry since you'll be sticking on to them and killing them. Banshee's works if you don't want to get pulled by Blitzcrank. It's very diverse how you can build Lee Sin, and those are just examples of items I buy every once in a while. When playing Lee Sin, you can Q to an enemy and W back to an ally to harass at no cost. Combo for Lee Sin is you can Q the enemy, kick them back with your ultimate, and then follow them up with the second portion of your Q. Lee Sin's ultimate, Dragon's Rage, is very good at kicking enemies into your team. Use this so you can focus down the fed carries. When attacking towers, make sure you use your abilities, even if you won't hit anything, to get the extra 40% attack speed. This will help you take down towers very quickly and more efficiently. Lee Sin's Safeguard and Iron Will works on wards too. Use this to set up combos and to reposition yourself quickly. Lee Sin can also use Safeguard and Iron Will and a ward to jump over walls. Because of this, keep a couple wards in your inventory at all times so that you have an escape mechanism. For my runes and masteries for Lee Sin, I usually like to take attack damage marks, 2 attack damage quintessences, 1 armor penetration quintessence, and armor seals. For my marks and 2 quintessences, I like attack damage so I can get the biggest bang for my buck in the early ganks since that's where Lee Sin shines. I take armor seals so that I can be more hardy and take less damage from the jungle creeps, and I take the glyphs, or I don't take any glyphs since it's mainly up to you to take offensive glyphs or defensive glyphs. If it was up to me, I would take magic resist per level so I can stick to the enemy carry and kill them, as I said before. And my last quintessence is an armor penetration one, and I'll explain why I have 1 armor penetration quintessence. For my masteries, I go 2190, and added with this 6 armor penetration, I will have roughly 10 armor penetration total. This is enough to kill most of the jungle monsters and do true damage to them. And in the offense tree, I make sure I take the flat attack damage and attack speed for faster jungle clears, and I also take Executioner since it stacks with my Q ability, Sonic Wave, and Resonating Strike. In the defense tree, I make sure I take a little bit of resistance and hardiness so I can be a little bit more tanky early game. Also, you don't have to take Lid Armor, you can actually take Veteran Scars, but that's up to you. I take this for faster clears, but I take Veteran Scars for more durability throughout the game. Thank you guys for watching my second guide on Lee Sin. What you liked and what you didn't like, please post in the comments so I know what I can make for the next guide, and you guys should recommend what I should make for the next guide in the comments section or my channel. Please subscribe. I'll be releasing guides every week or two on whatever you want. So thank you for watching, and check out my channel. Thank you.